Welcome back to the Roku Podcast, where we spotlight game changers, innovators, and those who turn their passions into legacy. Today, the guest is none other short of incredible. He's the best voice actor of our generation, a powerhouse, a man who left his stable career to chase his dreams, bringing characters to life. You might find him on many platforms, heard of him on many podcasts, with a voice that commands presence and a story that inspires. It's an honor to introduce the one, the only, Chris Dattoli. Chris, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. And that was an amazing introduction. Thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm working on them. I'm trying to, basically get as much information about our guest as possible so I can come up with a wonderful introduction because I just want to welcome you warmly into, basically the Zero Cool podcast space.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Yeah. So we're going to get right into it with our opening question, Chris. Let's kick things off with a big one. And, I want to share, why did you quit your job as a marketing director and pursue voice acting full time? That's a bold move, right?
It is. So when I was young, my dad always told me, he said, Chris, I swear to God, when you're older, I see you talking to yourself in a padded room. And I just wanted to prove him right. So, the thing is, I was a marketing director for like a big corporation. I was in that field for about 13 years. I wasn't really happy. Like I was making, some good money. It was just, I don't know, like it wasn't my passion. When I was younger, I did a lot of theater. I was in a few shows on Nickelodeon way back then when they did the recording in Florida in Universal Studios. I was actually, there was a pilot for a show. I forget the name of it, but I was on it. It was supposed to be like kids versus adults. I think that might have been the name of it, but they actually reformatted and turned to something else. I think it eventually became like Wild and Crazy Kids. But I was on an episode of Wild and Crazy Kids. I was on back in Nickelodeon in the 90s, they had like The Big Help. I did that. And you know what? I wasn't happy. And I remember the day, I started doing a few free radio plays. And then there was a website called Voice Acting Alliance. That was when I was getting some of the free work. And then a publishing company heard my voice, and one of the authors reached out to me and said, hey, would you be interested in doing the audiobook version of my book? I did it. I auditioned. I got it. And it was my first really big paycheck. And I said, you know what? I'm going to do this. I want to go all in. I want to do it right. So I got coaching, met with a few good coaches, met with a few not so great coaches, got scammed a little bit. And I just remember one day I was in my office and I was just looking around and I just said, I don't want to be here. And I got up and talked to my boss and said, listen, I'm sorry, I quit. I'm not happy here. I'm not happy with you. I think you're a very poor CEO. I think you're a poor manager, and I'm going to go chase my dream. And I just walked out.
Wow.
Yeah. And I said,
so basically you Tom Cruise them.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, looking back, that probably wasn't the smartest idea because I was a single father and I had two daughters, and I was living in a kind of a small apartment, and I had 3 rooms, and I turned one of the rooms into a little makeshift studio.
Mm-hmm.
And, it was hard because I had no income coming in, and I was still kind of a little novice in the field. Not kind of, I pretty much was. I didn't have too much experience. But I just said, no, I want to pursue my dream. So I just kept pursuing. And eventually I got an agent and I started getting more work. And here I am today.
Wow. That is an amazing story. I mean, you took a gamble, true gamble to actually, man, I can't express for the audience and the people who are viewing, that's going to be viewing, right? Not everybody knows. So I'm active duty military. I'm still in the military.
So thank you for your service.
Oh, no problem.
I come from a military family, so.
Yeah. So, doing this podcast, man, I really have something to lean back on. And I admire those individuals that say, you know what? Screw it all. I'm going to stop what I'm doing and I'm just going to pursue and move forward what my dreams are, because there's a there's a level of urgency that you have to have, especially betting on yourself and risking on yourself. And it seems that you did it. And man, things shook out for you in the long run. And man, I can't wait to get to that point where hang up that uniform. And as I push forward in this, just give it my go. So man, hats off to you, 100%. I do have a question that you answered before, but I just want the people to know. You said Fatal Fury, sorry, was the anime that first pulled you into the world. How did it shape your journey? And for fans of the professional voice acting world, what was an actor voice actor that you heard that you thought was like, man, that voice is pretty cool. I wonder who was doing that.
So, Fatal Fury, the motion picture, was the first anime I ever saw. And I remember it clear as day over my friend's house. He goes, oh, you got to check this out. He was big into anime and I had no idea. And I saw it and immediately I'm like, oh my God, this is incredible. Just hearing like someone, like they capture the emotions and, you know, like when they were screaming, they were really like screaming. Now beforehand, this is like, we didn't really have too much. We did have like the 1990s X-Men, which was incredible in its own self. But it was just so much in that anime that captured so much passion and imagination that my friend said, like, yeah, this is all like hand drawn. Like this, and he showed me all this other anime. I'm like, this is pretty cool. So I started going down that rabbit hole and just thinking like, wow, people actually like they get like paid to do this. They get paid to come in and like dub over like the Japanese animation, the Japanese voice actors, and that just kind of like inspired me. And I dabbled here and there, but it wasn't till I saw Avatar: The Last Airbender, and just seeing that sparked something in me. I'm not sure if it's true anime, but still, like that's just seeing the first 3 episodes, something like that pulled me in. I said right then there, I'm like, I want to be a voice actor. Like that's when I started like chasing the dream and led me down. It really sparked some creativity in me that made me go down that rabbit hole of voice acting and inspired me to be who I am today. And I'm still a big, huge nerd. I actually still have the giant laser disc animes. Before there was DVDs and like kind of right after there was VHS, they had this huge laser disc that was probably like about this big, the size of a dinner plate. And it had maybe 2 or 3 episodes on it if you were lucky. And you had to import it over from Japan. Yeah. And you had to find a specific like Laserdisc player. It was like, looking back, it was super expensive, but like probably collectibles now.
Yeah. Kids would never understand the struggle that you went through to actually record an anime or something that you enjoyed. Man, they don't know the struggle. They would never understand. And I do understand what you're saying with The Last Airbender. Man, because that's a debate in a lot of anime circles, especially online. People get real vicious with it. They like, Avatar is not an anime, and like some people are like, yes, it is. And man, I'm like, okay, can we all come together and say this is an amazing work of art?
Yeah,
yeah. And then so people, try to be the mediator and come a lot of people down in a lot of internet groups. Yeah. So yeah, okay. And you also mentioned that Bash the Stampede, Trigun, for people who don't know, that character you like to be for a day. How would you think, or how would you live by that code of peace and that strength, applied to your real life journey?
So you always want to have the strength and courage to stand up to violence, stand up to hate, but you never want to go out and seek hate. And that's what I feel Bash is. He doesn't want to kill. He doesn't hate. He tries to live by a code, but just so many things come around him in all these circumstances. And I can kind of relate that. I mean, as I mentioned, I was a single father. My kid's mom just kind of, when my youngest daughter was born, up and left and haven't heard ever since. So I was a single father raising 2 daughters and I had a small apartment. And then I quit my job and then I started to pursue voice acting. And it was just all this hate and turmoil. So many people said, like, you should knock it off. You should get a full-time job. Like, what's wrong with you? Acting in the United States is a lot different than acting in like England, because England is an actual, like, not that it's not a profession here, but when you say in England you're going to be an actor, they say, oh, okay, cool. It's like if you're going to be an electrician or if you're going to be a plumber. It's an exciting trade, and they take it a lot more seriously. In America, you're like, yeah, sure. What restaurant do you work at? Pretty much. And I just, love that he has the strength to stand up in a world full of chaos. And, growing up, there's, especially now, there's so much hate and chaos. And if you just not focus on the hate, you just focus on the love and you stand up to that. Because I was bullied. A few of my friends, they were bullied because they were, because of their sexual orientation. I just wanted to keep PC with that. And I stood up to them and I got into a number of scuffles with people defending my friends because I don't I don't care. To me, love is love. And I just hated that. And, I just always sympathized and related closely with Bash. You know what? He stands up for his friends. He stands up for he just wants love. He doesn't want to hurt people. But if someone comes his way, better watch your F out. And also, I found that show because in the 90s, there was a show on Nickelodeon called Salute Your Shorts. The guy who played Ugg was actually the voice actor of Bash's brother, Knives. You remember? Yeah, the dub. Yeah. So I just happened to find that out through a friend. I'm like, oh, really? Ugg's in this. I'm like, where's Ugg? Where's Ugg? Oh, wow, cool. It was then I got sucked into the anime. I'm like, oh, wow, Johnny and Bosch is amazing.
I see. Man, things you learn. You've been on several podcasts, right, before, and I'm sure you encounter all kinds of requests, right? So what's the funniest or most unexpected thing someone asked you to do during your interviews?
They always say, oh, can you do Daffy Duck? Can you do Porky Pig? Oh, can you do this? Can you do that? And I say, well, no, I'm not an impressionist. Do a voice for me. I'm like, this is my voice. This is how because everyone thinks, if you say you're a voice actor, you have this crazy voice and you pull this character. So, yeah, I could do it. Yeah, I could do that. But, this is kind of how I make my money. Somehow, I started off doing commercials. Now I'm doing, since the pandemic, I'm doing a lot of medical narration, corporate narration, e-learning, which is the uncool side of voiceover. But still, it pays pretty well. And, just that's always a request. Do a voice for me. I'm like, hi, I'm Chris. I like cheese and pizza. I'm Italian.
It's like they're trying to make you be funny on command.
Yeah.
And that's not good for anyone. Yeah. But that's pretty funny though. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it's always do a voice for me.
Yeah.
Okay.
In voice acting, what's one piece of advice do you wish someone had given you when you first started? You mentioned being scammed when you kind of first getting into voice acting.
Yeah.
How do you know that? And how do you know now as a mentor, others trying to break into that industry, what to say to them to convince them, one, that you're trustworthy, and then also just relay that information?
So I always preach, forgive the language, but I always say, don't worry about the bullshit. Ignore the bullshit. You're going to see some people say oh, I was in this show, I'm in this show, flash all these credits, say they're in all this anime. And unfortunately, I hope I don't get blackballed for this. Anime, it's good for the soul. It doesn't really pay the bills. That's the best way I can put it. It's great to do. It's a marvelous marketing tool. But, they'll say oh, I done all this anime. Now I could coach you. And I'm like, well, what are your qualifications? I always tell everyone, research, research, research. For me, a coach, it should be someone who's in the business for a minimum of 10 years. They're represented by several accredited agencies. They've done a wide variety of projects, not just anime, not just audiobooks, not just, they can have a niche, excuse me, for audiobooks of that field, but they should do a wide variety of things. And also find references on them. Hey, I'm just wondering, you work with this coach, what do you have? And if they just run a demo mill, which is just, they come in, you make a demo, there's no coaching and goodbye, good luck. You got to watch out for that. So that's why I always say, do your research. Don't give your money to someone who, says oh, I could be a coach. Yeah, I could be a coach, but I'm not qualified. I don't meet the qualifications for that. I haven't been I'll be in the industry for over a decade soon. But I don't meet that. I'm happy to mentor people. I'm happy to give out free advice. I just love helping people because it's such a giving community. And I just tell them, just research, be humble, do not get a big head. And most importantly, take direction well. Sometimes, we may get offended when they say sometimes people might make a comment like, oh, that sucked. Can you try it this way? Can you try it this way? And we kind of get like nervous, like, oh my God, am I horrible? Am I my bad voice actor? We just got to realize, calm down. Obviously you're here because they liked you. So they like your voice. They're going to work with you. And if you take direction well, you take humble. I mean, there's plenty of times, because I also do on-camera projects as well. Plenty of times where I've done voice work or on-camera work when they say like, you're really easy to work with. And I said, well, thanks. I mean, it's not, I mean, maybe that was my father and me, he was always a humble guy. He never like was ever braggadocio or anything like that. He was like, oh, thank you. He was a very polite, straight, like, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I knew he was like, he's an electrician. I knew he's like the best electrician I've ever seen. He cleaned up everyone else's work, and just living by those values. I'm like, all right, just never get like a big head, because you go far. One of my coaches and friends, a mentor, Mark Cashman, has a number of awards. He has a number of credits under his belt, been in the industry for decades, and he's the nicest person I've ever met. He's so humble, and he just like loves to help out. And I just kind of absorbed that. I'm like, I just love to help out too. So yeah, I'm getting trailing off a little bit, but yeah.
No.
Just be humble, do your research on your coaches, stay hungry. I mean, and I'm going to say this, don't quit your day job till you're ready. Don't do what I did. It's okay if you're working 2 full-time jobs.
Yeah.
I've done that for the longest time, and I still do other work too, because there's times where voice acting, sometimes the highs are the high and the lows are lows. I see a lot of times where people are saying, like, I've auditioned for so much, I've been at it for 3 years and I'm not getting anything. I'm just going to throw the towel in. Like, no, don't give up. I mean, if this field was easy, everyone would do it. I mean, if being an electrician was easy, everyone would do it. Being a plumber was easy, everyone would do it. No, it takes time to develop your skills. You're going to make mistakes. Just learn from them. A fun hobby that I do is I have medieval armor, like leather armor and metal armor. And the guy who was mentoring me, he said, you know what? You got some experience. I'm like, what do you mean? I screwed up. He goes, that's what experience is. Life is tough. Life is a tough teacher because she gives you the test before the lesson. So when you screw up, that's experience. You now know what to do right. You learn from it, you go.
So I did have a question though for you. You said a minimum of 10 years, right? Why is that?
I feel in a decade, they've been through the highs, they've been through the lows. They had a chance to do a wide variety of projects. I mean, sometimes people find success like immediately. I know a voice actor, Gabe Kunda, who's incredibly talented. Like right off the bat, he hit success, and that's because he's incredibly talented. Like as soon as he made his demo, and that's amazing for him. But not everyone's journey is going to be the same. I'm sure he could be a great coach right now. I'm not saying he's not, but a lot of people, I take a lot of business classes, and they say one question they ask successful entrepreneurs is, have you ever been broke before? Absolutely. Like, I feel there's a chance where a coach has gone through a period of lows. They've been almost broke, maybe not to that extreme, but, to that extent, at least, that, they felt the lows of the industry and they felt the ultimate highs. And that's enough to get enough experience under your belt. Like, I wouldn't, for an electrician, my father, he would say, like, I've been in the industry for 5 years. My dad would go, all right, you don't know much.
Yeah.
It's a little messed up, Dad. He goes, all right, they haven't gotten the lows. I'm like, where are the lows? You'll find out. My father's a horrible coach, horrible teacher. Like, he never thought, but like, I listened to him carefully.
Yeah.
I listened, like, they don't know. Now I get it. Now I understand. So I say 10 years. So that way they get enough experience under their belt. They feel comfortable to say, like, yeah, I've been there before. I know what you're going through. It feels relatable. Not just, I had nothing but success. What's that? You had a downtime? You're not getting any auditions? I've never experienced that before. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I know exactly what you mean. Those people that make success seem like it's so easy, and so it is obtainable through consistency, right? But like you said, you're going to have those highs and lows, especially doing what I'm doing, especially setting up my podcast. I have highs and lows consistently, trying to get things, working with editors. Man, it's crazy. So,
yeah.
And I'm a one-man show because I am married, but my wife doesn't know any of this. She's like, So even when I try to explain to her, especially spending extra time doing this, she's like, So
Yeah.
I just leave her be. I leave her be. But yeah, but thank you for that. You know, you've been a voice actor for many characters, but but if you were to create an anime about your life, what would it be called, and what is unique about it? And over the top, what would you be your superpower if you had an anime series for that?
Oh, that's a great question. I would say the title would be The Crazy Journeys of a Fat Italian. And just, I should say, The Crazy Journeys of a Plus Size Italian. I'll put it that way. Uh, and I would say my superpower would be the ability to read people's mind. Because that would be so helpful if I have that. Like, what is this director thinking? Like, what is this? Give me an audition. What do you want? I don't get. Okay. Well, so that would be. I'll talk about the frustration in a second, but that would be mine. It'd be like, just kind of dealing with that, dealing with like this crazy world that we're living in. The ability just to read, but like the handicap, I would say is I could only read their mind for about 60 seconds. Give me some sort of handicap like that. So I only get partial, so I kind of have to make up the rest.
Yeah.
Kind of like there was a show with I'm forgetting the actor's name. I'm gonna feel bad. He was in Guardians of the Galaxy and The Hobbit. He was in the TV show where he had the ability to resurrect people with one touch, and touched them again, they would die. I think Lee Pace. I think that's who I'm thinking about.
I think so. I'm trying to think.
I could be wrong. Like he played the main elf in The Hobbit, and he was the villain in Guardians of the Galaxy, the first one. It's going to come to me afterwards, but because I always felt like that's a great power, but that's a really bad handicap. So I thought, like, all right, I can only read minds for 60 seconds, because otherwise I'm always super powerful. If not, that superpower would be to create multiple copies of myself, and then I'd be able to do all this other activity, learn as much as I can, and then at the end of the day, they have to be absorbed into me, and I would obtain the knowledge. The only handicap is I would have horrible headaches every night. I put a lot of thought in this, so it's always because I want not like I want to be Superman. Like, no, like, let me give me like a reasonable superpower. Maybe one day it will come true. I don't know.
Yeah. I always wanted to have a superpower of like the ultimate luck. Like I always luck out in every situation. But I'm not sure if you ever watch One Punch Man. Yeah. So with One Punch Man, what's his name? He has the something engine. He's the number 2 strongest. He has like 3 claws right here. And his name, jeez, man, it come back. Yeah, it come back to me. But basically, a lot of people have theorized that his superpower is actually luck, because he always faced these villains. But One Punch Man actually comes in and destroys them, but no one knows, and he gets credit for it. So, so he doesn't do anything. So everybody like theorized that his superpower actually is his incredible luck. And I was like, I would love to have that. I would love that.
Yeah, that's a good superpower.
Yeah, just incredible luck in situations. So we're getting to the hard part of this with the questions like, who are your top 4 voice actors if you had to put them on Mount Rushmore of voice acting, and why?
Steve Bloom, Mark Rao. Let's see.
You already had this list ready.
I already had it. Yeah. Because Steve Bloom, I just remember the first video game I played on the PlayStation was Brave Fencer Musashi, and he played one of the main characters. I'm like, who is that guy? He's really definitely Frank Welker. Of course, I have to put him. Let's see. That's 3. I'm thinking of one more. I would say Mark Hamill. But I still appreciate him as a voice actor, and I'll go with Mark Hamill. I appreciate him as a voice actor.
So if you had to argue your way onto the Mount Rushmore, what's the case that you would make for yourself?
For myself, I would have to say, I love helping people out. I give out plenty of free advice, which probably a lot of coaches hate me. But I never give like the advice they give me for a paid session. I never give that out.
Okay.
I'm pretty humble. I'm easy to get along with. I take direction very well. And all around, I'm just a friendly guy, and I'll bring you a bowl of pasta.
Oh, heck yeah. Okay.
So
So you actually do you make fresh pasta?
I not since I moved from my apartment because my pasta maker broke,
Okay.
but I make homemade sauce. It's my mom's sauce, so
Okay. Okay. Can beat mom sauce. I learned from a friend of mine's my friend of mine's and his wife. His wife is German Italian. So when we was living in Germany, we used to make our own pasta all the time, and she taught us how to make pasta. And man, easy process depending on I guess what type of pasta you're making, right?
great.
But man, very rewarding. But I don't want to do that. And she did it fresh almost every day. And I was like, geez, God, girl.
Yeah, it's
You did
it's funny. My wife's German Italian too,
Huh?
so
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's so is she so she's like literally from Germany or
no, she's not. She was born here. Her grandparents are just like me. But she's she's an amazing cook, and she's a phenomenal baker. She was actually a professional baker. She had her own business for a while too.
mm,
That's why, like, every time it's my birthday, I just have one request. I'm like, can you make me a peanut butter pie? Like that's all I want. You know, that's it.
no, I got you. Just like when we go visit them all the time, she's always baking and giving us like I'm like, girl, every time I come over here, I'm always leaving 3 pounds heavy. It's not fair. And all of it is so good. So I get you. Oh man. So basically your accomplishments and you have accomplished so much already, but what is the next move for you? You know, what's your dream project or goal that you're currently chasing?
So, wanting to get more involved with an anime on Crunchyroll. I have done anime and other productions.
Mhm.
And again, even though I say it doesn't pay well, it's just cross off like a childhood dream. I would love to do work for Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon, and be involved in a Final Fantasy game. That's just, first I came across Final Fantasy VII. That was always like a special place in my heart.
Good.
I remember crying like a baby when Aerith got killed. Now, because I'm so busy, I still haven't got a PS5, even though I'm on some games that are on PS5. And I haven't gotten the second game yet.
Okay. Do you know all the games that you're on for PS5?
Um, they're being released, and I could say I was involved on games on PS5. I can't say what they are. It's funny when you get NDA, which are non-disclosure agreements. Like,
Yep.
I actually ask, like, hey, I actually reach out. I'm like, hey, I'm wondering, like, I'm going to be on a podcast. What can I mention? Can I mention anything? They say you can mention that you're involved in the game. You can't mention this. So I make sure I get complete clarification on it. So, and it's not like, it's an independent party that they're doing it. And, an indie studio. They just want to knock out a few things, like a few bugs and everything. They ran through beta testing. So, there's that. But I would say, there's a video game I was in called Imago Beyond the Nightmares.
Mhm.
Buddy of mine, lives in Italy. He, created the game. I voiced every single male character. And that was just so fun because it pulled a lot of emotion out of me. And it was just so much fun, and like crying as two different people and two completely different voices. It was just wild.
Okay. So Chris, before we wrap up, is there anything that you want to promote or talk about for yourself? And the floor is yours. Share your projects, shout outs, or your thoughts, and leave with our listeners.
Sure. I'm on a show recently called The Godfather of Fentanyl. I play Louis Cirillo. I believe it's on, I think the app's called Fox Nation. I believe it is. You can get like a free 7-day subscription with that. Please check out Konsu Fighter, from Cesarean Studios, Imago, Beyond the Nightmares. It's just a few projects. Man, I just love helping my buddies out because they created the game. I voiced it. And I also want to talk about, all support voice actors. Right now, there's a strike going on with video games, and it's because they want to bring AI into video games. And, AI's not going to take job away. People who use AI are going to take jobs away. And that's not just for voice acting. It's with artwork. I mean, how many times we look on TikTok and we see like, oh, AI sketches you as an anime. That's like taking jobs away. There was actually a big lawsuit against TikTok with a voice actor using her voice. That's for a different time. But, support your local businesses, your local artists. And, just AI is such like the devil's tool. But, but I shouldn't say there's some ways where it does help out. When it comes to video games, bringing the people's passions to life, AI will never be able to reciprocate or to be able to copy a voice actor's passion. I mean, I sincerely doubt AI can capture Ellie's voice from The Last of Us Part 2. Mm-hmm. When that, I don't want to say it, but that when that scene happens, it will never be able to capture that passion, that emotion that voice actors give out. And that changed the tone immediately. I actually hear commercials and I listen like, oh, they used AI. My wife goes, how do you know? I'm like, well, listen to the tones. Like, no one's talking like that. Like, I could hear. Like, there's certain, like, I know for us Italians, like, we speak like we're singing a song. Yeah. Just like every single state has their own unique accent. Like, obviously, I'm from Jersey. You can hear my Jersey accent. Water, coffee, When going to LA, I have to say water, coffee. I still can't, I go to Minnesota and I just say, oh, okay. All right, then. It's just kind of, so that's it. Just, support the strike, support the voice actors who are striking against, using AI.
Yeah. So, Chris, thank you so much for sharing your story, your passion, your wisdom with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Pleasure. No problem, man. For the listeners, make sure you check out Chris's latest projects and follow his journey. He is amazing. Go on his website. We have all the links in the show notes. So once this episode posts, go into the links, support his website, support everything that he's doing. He's an amazing individual. Stay tuned for more inspiring conversations on the Zenroku podcast. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. Peace.
Peace out.